On the evening of May 5th, 2022, 6-year-old Logan Warrior Goings was sitting on a couch inside her family's home on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. She should have been safe. She should have been spending another ordinary night with the people who loved her. Instead, within seconds, gunfire shattered that sense of safety forever. More than 4 years later, no one has been arrested for her murder. And now, the FBI is offering a reward of up to $50,000 for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. Someone knows what happened that night. Someone knows who pulled the trigger. And someone has remained silent for years. This is the unsolved murder of Logan Warrior Goings. Pine Ridge is one of the largest Native American reservations in the United States. Stretching across thousands of square miles in southwestern South Dakota, it is home to generations of Oglala Lakota families. Like many rural communities, residents often know one another. Families are closely connected, and children grow up surrounded by relatives, neighbors, and lifelong friends. For 6-year-old Logan Warrior Goings, family was everything. Those who knew her described her as energetic, loving, and full of life. She was the kind of child who could brighten a room with a smile. She loved spending time with her family and had an entire future ahead of her. But on May 5th, 2022, that future was stolen. That evening appeared normal. Family members were gathered at home. Nothing seemed unusual. At some point during the evening, Logan's grandmother left the house briefly to pick up drinks for dinner. It was a routine trip. No one could have imagined that everything would change before she returned. Inside the home, Logan remained with family members. Then, without warning, gunshots erupted. Multiple rounds were fired into the residence from outside. The bullets tore through the walls and windows. The family had almost no time to react. Panic instantly filled the house. People scrambled for cover. Adults shouted. Children screamed. In the chaos, Logan moved toward her grandfather. A bullet struck her. The 6-year-old collapsed. The shooters disappeared almost as quickly as they had arrived. By the time emergency responders reached the scene, the damage had already been done. A little girl who should have been planning her next day of school was fighting for her life. Despite efforts to save her, Logan Warrior Goings died from her injuries. The devastating news spread quickly throughout Pine Ridge. Residents struggled to understand how something so horrific could happen. A child had been killed inside her own home. Not while walking alone. Not during a confrontation. Not in a dangerous situation. She had simply been sitting on a couch. For family members, the loss was unimaginable. For investigators, the case immediately became a homicide investigation. Federal authorities soon joined local law enforcement. Because Pine Ridge is located within tribal lands, the investigation involved multiple agencies, including the FBI. Investigators began the difficult process of reconstructing what had happened. They examined the crime scene. They collected ballistic evidence. They interviewed witnesses. They searched for surveillance footage. They looked into possible motives. One question quickly emerged. Was Logan the intended target? The answer appeared obvious. A 6-year-old child sitting inside a family home was unlikely to have been the target of a deliberate attack. Investigators instead focused on a disturbing possibility. Someone may have been targeting the house itself, or perhaps someone inside the residence. If that was true, Logan became an innocent victim caught in the middle of a violent act. But who was the actual target? And why was the house attacked? Those questions remain unanswered. As the investigation continued, authorities faced significant challenges. Unlike crimes that occur in busy urban areas, incidents in remote communities often leave fewer witnesses and less physical evidence. Some residents may fear retaliation. Others may hesitate to speak with law enforcement. Rumors spread quickly, but rumors are not evidence. Investigators needed facts. They needed names. They needed witnesses willing to come forward. Months passed, then a year, then 2. Still, no arrests were announced. The silence became increasingly painful for Logan's family. Every birthday became another reminder of what had been lost. Every holiday left an empty seat. Every passing year meant another year without answers. For many people outside South Dakota, Logan's story received only limited national attention. But within Pine Ridge, it was never forgotten. Community members continued demanding justice. Family members continued speaking publicly about their loss. And investigators continued searching for leads. The murder also reignited broader conversations about violence affecting Native American communities. For years, tribal leaders have raised concerns about crime rates, limited resources, and the challenges of policing large reservation areas. Many reservations cover enormous geographic regions with relatively few officers available to respond. Residents often wait long periods for assistance. Investigations can become more complicated because of overlapping jurisdiction between tribal, federal, state, and local agencies. These realities do not excuse violence, but they help explain why some cases become extraordinarily difficult to solve. For Logan's family, however, the larger policy debates could never replace the need for justice. Their focus remained on one thing: finding the people responsible. As investigators reviewed evidence, they continued following tips from the public. Some leads appeared promising, others led nowhere. Authorities remained careful about releasing details. Publicly revealing too much information could compromise the investigation. As a result, many aspects of the case remain known only to investigators. This secrecy has also fueled speculation. Who was involved? How many shooters were there? Was the attack planned? Was it connected to another dispute? Did witnesses remain silent because they were afraid? Without arrests or court proceedings, many of those questions remain unresolved. But investigators have repeatedly emphasized one point: someone knows what happened. Crimes involving multiple people are notoriously difficult to keep secret forever. People talk, relationships change, friendships end, guilt builds. Over time, information often emerges. The challenge is getting that information to law enforcement. Years after the murder, authorities still believed answers were out there. Then, in June 2026, the FBI made a major announcement. The Bureau publicly offered a reward of up to $50,000. The reward would be paid for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the individuals responsible for Logan's murder. The announcement sent a clear message: the case remains active. Investigators have not given up, and they are still searching for the breakthrough that could finally solve the crime. Rewards are often used when investigators believe members of the public may possess critical information. Sometimes a witness is reluctant to come forward. Sometimes a person suspects something but lacks certainty. Sometimes a financial incentive helps overcome fear or hesitation. Whether the reward will generate new leads remains unknown, but authorities clearly hope someone will finally speak. Today, more than 4 years after the shooting, Logan Warrior Goings should be growing up. She should be making new friends. She should be attending school. She should be creating memories with her family. Instead, her life ended before it truly began. A single act of violence changed everything. The people responsible have never faced justice, at least not yet. Somewhere, there are individuals who know exactly what happened on May 5th, 2022. They know why shots were fired into that home. They know who was involved. They know why a 6-year-old girl never made it to her next birthday. The FBI believes those answers still exist. The family believes those answers still exist. The community believes those answers still exist. The question is whether the people holding those answers will finally come forward. Until that day arrives, the murder of Logan Warrior Goings remains one of South Dakota's most heartbreaking unsolved cases. A child sitting on a couch, a burst of gunfire, a family shattered forever, and a mystery that has lasted for years. Somewhere out there is the truth. And after all this time, investigators are still searching for it.